Make your way into work, into school this morning. We say welcome in, and going to be a nice start to your day in the Rocket City as you make your way around wherever you may need to get to on this Thursday. Welcome in. Plenty to get to as we count down towards this year's SEC championship game. And if you head to our Twitter page at 977ESPN, Drew, we have a question up there this morning. Alabama has won 15 straight games in Atlanta. I know you have picked the Georgia Bulldogs. You just heard the spread now up to 7 in favor of Georgia. Alabama has a chance in this game. We've talked about the offense. We've talked about the defensive sides of the ball. Special teams is where Alabama does have to clean up a little bit of some tendencies there, because we've seen special teams kind of lack as well this season.
Well, we have. I mean, there's no doubt, pardon me, Scott, that Alabama has struggled in some aspects of the game. They've been an inconsistent team in all three phases. They have not played their best game. I think that's the one wild card they have. I mean, if they play their best game against Georgia, I think they'd have an outstanding chance to win. They'd have to play flawless football in all three phases, no turnovers, win the time of possession, and almost use a controlled passing game, I think, as we were kind of talking about yesterday, to win the football game. But certainly Georgia's been a dominant team. The two Western Division teams they faced, and the Western Division is the toughest in all of college football, Scott. I mean, every team is bowl eligible and will be in postseason. Even if some of those are 6-6, they're still good football teams, in my opinion. And there's a lot of competition, but they win at Auburn 34-10. They beat Arkansas 37-0. So we have made mention that Georgia's strength of schedule isn't Alabama's, but at the same time, they've really only had one game that was not in doubt in the fourth quarter, but was close.
Right.
And that was ironically the season opener against Clemson. That was a 10-3 Georgia win where they didn't score an offensive touchdown. It was a pick six. And then at the time, we didn't understand the gravity of the injury situation for J.T. Daniels, which has opened the door, for the situation at quarterback where we've seen the Georgia Bulldogs, but they still win. I know there's been some consternation. There was people wondering if JT would be back, by this time, but he's not. And Georgia's made the best of the situation. They're a very efficient team, and Alabama's got to make Georgia drive the field. They've got to make Georgia turn it over. Not many people have been able to do that. Georgia's been a team that's put teams away by halftime, including that 3-touchdown flurry in the last 3 or 4 minutes of that first half in the cocktail party, where it looked like at least Florida was going to be within a score at 10-3, and then by the end of the half it's 24-3. And so you just and then Stetson Bennett did what Stetson Bennett has been doing all year. He's been efficient. He hasn't turned it over. And then they played to their defense, and they've just played really good complementary football. But Alabama's going to have to play a flawless game in all three phases to give themselves a chance to win in the fourth quarter, no question about it.
All right, that's how we get started this morning. By the way, Alabama is 6-0 all time inside new Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So if you are looking for little things to give you confidence that Alabama can win, there are some interesting things. Yesterday at Dolphins practice, Drew, Tua did go out of his way to say that it's going to be a tough battle. Roll Tide forever till I die. He did pause and then say, but I don't remember the last time Georgia beat us. So
yeah,
just a little humor there as we get started. Plenty to get to today. The College Football Playoff Management Committee met yesterday. No conclusion on when it comes to the expansion of the playoffs. There is a consensus that they should expand, but how and when is still being debated. Greg Sankey made some interesting comments yesterday. We'll go over all of those. But Drew, the big topic, it's a national topic. It's not local. Major League Baseball indeed locked out the players last night, and the Atlanta Braves did not come to an agreement with Freddie Freeman before the lockout.
Yeah, and I don't think any of this was a surprise. We heard from Bill Shanks earlier in the week, and they're still the sticking point of the 6th year with Freddie Freeman. He would, because very likely it would be the last contract of his career, because he would be 38 years old, winding down what should be a Hall of Fame career. Would like to spend the entirety of it with Atlanta. Hopefully they can get that done. But Bill has also been warning us of this work stoppage that was looming. As you were talking about yesterday on the show, Scott, they had negotiations going on yesterday, I believe in Houston, Texas, but they just could not come to any sort of consensus. And as you said, it seems as though the two sides were far apart. This is not surprising. It seems as though there's always labor strife of some kind in baseball. So it's going to be interesting to see how long this lockout lasts. Hopefully, it'll be a situation where spring training will still start on time. This won't the season won't have to be condensed. Certainly, it is a bonus they got last season in, and we did not see any interruptions. But again, if you followed Major League Baseball's history, this is not a surprise.
All right, so that is, not a surprise, just not what we wanted to see.
Yeah.
From Major League Baseball. Now, a lot of people are asking, how does this affect the Rocket City Trash Pandas? It does not affect the Rocket City Trash Pandas. There still will be minor league baseball. There still will be stuff going on. There just won't be Major League Baseball. Won't be anything like that if we get to that far. All right, let's get out to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Jeff from the Borough with us this morning. Good morning, Jeff.
How's it going, guys?
Morning, Jeff.
I just want to say I think it's going to be a long work stoppage. I think the owners are probably tired of the players taking over, whatever you want to call it. I think it's going to be a long work stoppage. I think the season will be condensed. Spring training will not start on time. I think the owners are probably going to take a stand this time, I guess. I don't know, but I think that's what they're going to do, because I heard that yesterday was all of 7 minutes. He's in a room, and they didn't budge. So this time it's going to be a long one this time. They ain't going to mess around. So, that's what I predicted. I don't. It don't really matter right now. I'm not really worried about it. But when it gets closer time, I probably will. But it's going to be a long one. And will baseball hurt? Yeah. Will it come back? Yeah. It'll come back. It'll be fine. It'll come back like it did before. So it'll be fine. But Scott, how about that exciting ACC Big Ten Challenge game last night? I think they're still playing. It's the 10th overtime. North Carolina State, Nebraska. They're still playing there. I think it's 150 to 148 now. They're still playing, but everything. But I know you still want it in January, though. We know that.
I do. I don't have a problem with it being in January. I don't.
The women started. Women's Big Ten, SEC Big 12 started last night and then Saturday, and the ACC has women's one too, about 14 games. So they play. But also got I don't know how much y'all talk about them, but Birmingham Southern's a Division III school. I thought they were FCS, but they just finished their football season. They made the second round of the playoffs and lost. But their women's basketball team, there was a girl from our area went down there and played. She's a freshman. There's a guy playing down on the men's team. But the women's team right now, they played 7 ball games so far this year. That they're leading Division III in scoring offense. Did y'all know that?
No. I do know, though, that the football team, I believe, made the playoffs. I believe this was the first time that they've been to the second round of the playoffs in quite some time for Birmingham Southern.
Yeah, but their women's team, they're averaging close to 98 points a game, and they went over 100 4 times. The most points they scored this year was the first game. They scored 129. The women's team did. First game this year. So they're averaging, and the second place team is averaging 97. So they're leading Division III. The women's team isn't scoring offense in the country. So I don't know, but I guess they don't shoot it very well. They're shooting 35% from the field and from the field and everything. But thought y'all might want to know that. But I don't know how they'll do the rest of the season. But they sure can score. And I think too, if Alabama doesn't make the playoffs, which I don't think if they lose there they won't. I think the ratings will be better for the playoffs this year. Because they said last year it was the lowest ever. TV ratings are the lowest. And I think without Alabama and Clemson in it, I think a lot more people is going to watch, especially Cincinnati and Michigan, some of these new teams in it. And I know the ACC, I think a lot more people is going to watch it with Pittsburgh and Wake Forest, and it no Clemson and all this other stuff. I like people say anyway, like you guys say, people's got Bama fatigue, really SEC fatigue too, but they got Bama fatigue and everything else. They're tired of Alabama winning, but of course we'll have to see about that on Saturday. I know Alabama thinks they got a good chance, and we'll just see. I know you guys said Alabama's banged up, so I don't know what they'll do on Saturday, but yeah, I still in for the November, December challenge. You play your non-conference before January, and then the rest of it's conference. But the SEC don't care about basketball. One day they will, but they don't care about it right now. But y'all have a good one and have a good day. See y'all.
Drew, I'm tired of him talking about that. I guess he calls in every day to talk about it.
It's called harping.
If the SEC didn't care about basketball, they wouldn't play it when they play it. I mean, that's why they put it there to begin with.
Yeah, and showcase in the middle of a season.
Yeah, and I highly doubt that the Pitt whatever ACC championship game, Pitt Wake Forest, is going to be a highly watched game.
I would doubt it, Scott. I mean, in the city of Winston-Salem maybe, and in Pitt, around that campus, yes, but otherwise no, because there's really no playoff implications with it either.
No.
There's not going to be a playoff team coming from the ACC. And again, maybe Jeff's right. Maybe there is some fatigue going on and the ratings will be up, but I still think when it's all said and done, people want to watch the Blue Bloods play, and certainly, but Michigan's going to, if they can beat your Hawkeyes, they haven't yet, but if they can and make the playoff, they do have a national brand, so there'll be a lot of people watching. But again, let's see if Harbaugh can finish it. He finally beat Ohio State, but can he stand prosperity and keep his team focused? Because I was watching a feature on him last night. None of them got a ring. None of them have done this before. So we'll see if Iowa can play spoiler. But certainly Michigan's got a lot to play for on Saturday.
Yep, and from my personal standpoint, my cheering standpoint,
yeah.
Kurt Ferentz was close to retiring in 2020. He had all that stuff going on with the program.
Yeah.
They had the weight room controversy there. They had the social injustice controversy. They had a lot of stuff going on there at Iowa. He could have retired. He chose not to. Stayed with it, and now he has Iowa in the Big Ten championship game. So, personally, I want to see Iowa win just because, well, I haven't seen them accomplish this ever. But from a national standpoint, I want to see Michigan get there because we give him in Harbaugh such a hard time about his words, what he's done with that program, what he's accomplished. And if he does win this, it doesn't get everything off his back, but it does go a long ways to him for everybody to believe what he's doing at Michigan. All right, let's go to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Mark from Huntsville's there. Good morning, Mark.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Morning.
Morning. I finally have found the weakness in Georgia.
What's that?
It's their schedule. They haven't beaten a top 10 team. They haven't beaten a top 15 team. They haven't beaten a top 20 team. They have beaten Arkansas as the highest-ranked team they've beaten.
Yeah.
Alabama, however, has beaten a top 10 team in Ole Miss. Am I on track so far?
Yeah, Ole Miss is ranked 8th.
Okay, and you don't hear anybody talking about that. You don't talk. Kudos to Georgia, but when you get down to it, when you get battle tested and you don't play A&M, which Georgia didn't. I'm just saying that I'm starting. I'd like to hear a little more about the reality of the fact that, yeah, Georgia looks better, they've played better, but when they play each other, it's going to be the first time Georgia has played an opponent that, well, it will be their best opponent. Their best competition, and Clemson's not that. They beat them 10-3, first game of the year, and everybody thought, well, that was a great win. I know you can compare scores. They beat Auburn much more handily than Alabama did, but I just wanted your thoughts on why is that. I know there's the fatigue, and that's not fair to the University of Alabama. Or it used to be
Mark,
the top 4 teams in.
We get that. We understand. We have actually brought that up on the show a couple times was the fact that Georgia's schedule, Drew, if you look in the East, was not mountainous. They didn't have to climb a lot of hills in this schedule this year.
They didn't, but I also understand this too. Much like when Alabama beat Florida State in 2017 and Atlanta to open the season, that was a battle of top 5 teams. It was a battle of top 5 teams when they played Clemson at the time. Now, Clemson didn't keep up their end of the deal, but it was considered a heck of a win, for the first month of the season until it became apparent that this was not one of Dabo's better teams and that they were going to be bowl eligible but not going to the playoffs. So then that win kind of got discounted. But at the time, Clemson was a highly ranked team. And then they did beat Arkansas and Auburn much worse than Alabama did. So you can play both sides of the coin, but I do think that there's no question that Alabama has been more battle-tested. But on the other side of the coin, Scott, and we've been talking about this all week, Georgia's healthier. And I think that's a big thing that's in their favor. Alabama's got a banged-up running back room. We don't know how much, if we're going to see Brian Robinson at all. My suspicions are we will, but it'll be a limited role because he has hamstring and ankle issues. The offensive line has been banged up. The center position, Darian Dalcourt, certainly has. Javian Cohen had the wrist surgery just a couple of weeks ago at the left guard spot. So, and Emil Ekiyor's been banged up. They've had a revolving door trying to find a right tackle to play, and I think it'll be Owens again. But, again, I think the lineup and the injury situation for the Georgia, and that's the bigger factor to me instead of the schedule, is in favor of the Bulldogs right now.
And Drew, I have okay, go ahead, Mark.
Would you agree that Georgia last point, would you agree that Georgia hasn't played an Ole Miss-type quarterback-type system? We claim their defense is unbeatable at Georgia, and yet, I'm just asking, who have they beaten that will have a quarterback like Young and Williams out there and Mechie?
Well, they did play against Tennessee and Hendon Hooker, who had a heck of a year, but I do think Bryce Young is the better player. They certainly haven't seen two receivers like Mechie and Jamison Williams. Now you have Ja'Cory Brooks kind of asserting himself, so he could be a factor also. And Brian Robinson's had an underrated season, but again, he's not healthy, so we'll see how much of a factor he can be. But, yes, certainly Alabama's skill guys give them a chance. But, Scott, what have we been saying all week? Bryce Young was sacked 7 times by Auburn. That Georgia defense in front seven is better than Auburn's, so the pass protection is going to be of utmost importance in this game coming up on Saturday.
All right. While we have got to put our vote in for the Heisman here in another few days, the Lott Impact Trophy, which is given to the nation's top defensive player, put out their finalists.
Somebody was smoking something.
And their semifinalist list, Drew, and there is a problem with this list. There is a player on it from Cincinnati, LSU, Kentucky, 2 from Georgia, 1 from Michigan, 1 from Purdue, and 1 from Utah. This goes to the nation's top defensive player. There is someone missing from that list.
There certainly is, and it's one Will Anderson from the University of Alabama. He only leads the nation in tackles for loss. I think he's tied for the national lead in sacks with 14.5. So I don't understand, in 86 tackles overall, how Will Anderson cannot be up for every defensive award. It makes zero sense to me. The Lott Trophy is an outstanding award. The University of Alabama has been fortunate to win that in the past. He should be at least a finalist for this award. I don't understand what they're looking at. And again, it's not like Will Anderson doesn't take care of the business off the field. He's been exemplary. He's been outstanding in the classroom. So the Lott Trophy, I don't know who votes for that and who's on that committee, but I think they dropped the ball literally.
Literally. And it's kind of funny because somebody asked Brett McMurphy this on Twitter as to why Will Anderson was not on this list. And Brett McMurphy says, I don't know. I have no idea. It's based on integrity, maturity, performance, academics, community, and tenacity.
Well, I think he checks all those boxes, but I guess somebody on that committee's got Alabama fatigue. I really don't know, Scott. I saw that list and I was like, well, I don't know how much we're going to talk about the Lott Trophy because they whiffed on one of the best players in America. Now, I'm not saying he needs to win it in a walk, but my goodness, he at least should be, on the finalist list. I mean, come on. I mean, give me a break.
Those are the Moron of the Day award right there.
Yeah, that's right. That's a nominee there.
All right, let's get our first break in. When we come back, we're going to talk some more Georgia football. What do the Georgia Bulldogs feel about Saturday? We talked about Alabama. What about Georgia?
Brooks Austin up next.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
They've cleared that wreck at Drake and Triana. That one had an injury involved. Had a stall, Martin Road and Zert Road. It should be taken care of. And we've gotten several reports of fog this morning. You be careful on that ride in. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. Why not make it safer for them? Move over. It's the law. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
So close to home, just 5 miles from downtown Huntsville, Montesano State Park sits on over 2,000 acres with spectacular vistas from atop Montesano Mountain. And right now would be a great time to purchase our zone deal so you can plan your getaway and save money. Get a 2-night stay in a cabin at Montesano State Park for the price of just 1 night, only $140. Get your zone deal before they're gone at 977ESPN.com.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
I struggled with symptoms like frequent gas and stomach pain for years.
I was bloated all the time with daily diarrhea.
At first, I thought it was what I was eating.
I kept thinking it was stomach issues.
So I did my research and talked to my doctor, and we finally uncovered the truth.
It was actually EPI. Exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, is a condition where your pancreas is unable to help break down your food.
It can lead to symptoms like diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools.
And EPI symptoms can be confused with those of other common digestive conditions, like irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, and celiac disease.
So getting to the right diagnosis meant being more open with my doctor about the severity of my symptoms and how often they were happening.
But there's good news. EPI is manageable, so don't wait any longer. Use the symptom checker at identifyepi.com and schedule a visit or call with your doctor to ask, could I have EPI?
Sponsored by AbbVie.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
It just works. Picture this. You're at home, doing whatever it is you do. Then, pow! The power goes out. Then what? Well, at my house, life goes on. We have a Generac automatic home standby generator from Current Electrical and Generator Services. For your home security and peace of mind, get a free personal consultation on how a Generac automatic home standby generator can protect you. Current Electrical and Generator Services. Call or visit us on the web at HuntsvilleGenerators.com. You've got the power.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Brooks & Collier has always been about making the most of your outdoors. Our lush greenhouse and new furniture ideas will inspire you, but we're also about value. Our brands are so handsome, they'll make themselves comfortable inside or out, and so well made, they'll weather the weather for many years to come. Our staff can consult you on the right choices, and Lucy for sure can show us the sofa that's the most comfortable. Make the most of your outdoors. Meridian Street and at brooksandcollier.com.
Coming up next, it's the Tom Abraham Show with me, Tom Abraham. Now back to more Talkin' Ball with Scott and Drew.
And welcome back to our Thursday edition of Talking Ball, 7:28 here on a Thursday morning. A lot to get to as we continue to count down towards this year's SEC championship game in Atlanta. Third-ranked Alabama taking on top-ranked Georgia. And no matter what line you look at, it's around 6-7 is the favorite for Georgia. That's where the number is. And Georgia has a lot of things going for him this year, Drew. A lot of momentum, a lot of things coming in. This feels, not saying that this is how it's going to play out, but it feels like this is Georgia's year. It feels like this is what Kirby Smart has been building for. This is what they've wanted. And this is probably as good a shot as any to win a national championship this year.
Well, certainly, it feels like 2019 almost, where LSU had everything lined up for them. They stayed relatively healthy. And then the guys that were banged up got back at the end of the year defensively. They played very well. They beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa 46-41 in a classic to get over the hump against the Tide. That's what Georgia's trying to do, and if they do that, they're going to be the unbeaten SEC champion and number one seed in the college football playoff, and that's the goal for them right now. They are 12-0. They've been dominant, and they've been able, with the way their schedule's set up, and, hey, there's no qualm with this. This is the way you would want it if you were wanting to have a season like they have. They've been able the last couple of weeks to vanquish two overmatched opponents and work on Alabama, I'm sure. And our next guest is what I consider the film guy, as he calls himself on Twitter, and he does break it down better than anyone from a Georgia perspective for us. He does a great job as the lead editor for Dogs Daily. He's also a recruiting analyst for SI All-American, works closely with John Garcia, our good friend. But Brooks Austin is now going to be back with us to give us his thoughts on this upcoming matchup on Saturday in Atlanta, and he's with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline right now. Brooks, I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. You're back in Huntsville with Drew and Scott. Good morning.
Yeah, gentlemen, good to be here with you this morning. How are y'all?
Doing good.
Doing well, Brooks. And I was just, catching up on some of your stuff. As you put it, we've been talking about it all week. Scott and I both like Georgia in this matchup. We know, as Scott has mentioned this morning, that the spread is up to 7 now in some places. But talk about this matchup. I know you break down a ton of tape. I don't think it's a complete mismatch, but I definitely think there's matchups that favor Georgia, especially along the lines of scrimmage, and I know you wrote that on Dogs Daily.
Yeah, that's the thing to me. I see a significant advantage along the line of scrimmage, and typically when that happens in any line of football, not just college football, but any line of football, when you can win and dominate the line of scrimmage, you got a great chance of winning the football game, and you should be heavily favored going into that football game. So I understand what Vegas is doing. I mean, we've seen all year that Georgia is a flawless football team up to this point, and I think Alabama's kind of proven over multiple games that they do indeed have flaws. So you're just seeing Vegas respond to that with a 6.5-point, 7-point spread. So I though, think it's going to be a lot closer. Not necessarily a lot closer than that. I think it's going to be a good, tight football game for 4 quarters, though I do think Georgia wins it.
On the outside, us here in the state of Alabama, I think around the SEC, kept wondering when JT Daniels was going to play, because we saw Stetson Bennett last year, but he seemed to run into as far as he could go with this team last year, and then JT Daniels comes in and takes it the rest of the way. And I think this year we kept thinking, okay, Stetson Bennett's going to go as far as he can, then JT Daniels is going to come in to save the day. But Stetson Bennett really has kind of taken this team, endured himself in the locker room, and really kind of became a leader on this team. Numbers are not flashy, but he's kind of led this team.
Yeah, last year after the Florida game, I recall Kirby Smart saying that he needs his quarterback to, quote, hit his layups, meaning like just make the easy completions, do the easy things about playing the quarterback position. You don't have to go out there and win the game by yourself. Stetson Bennett's been hitting his layups this year, a lot of them, and he's been facilitating the offense, and he's been distributing the football like he's supposed to, and he's been protecting the football. And he's just been doing all the little things right. It's a different quarterback when I watch him on tape. It's a different quarterback and a different offense when I watch this 2021 football team versus what they were doing last year on tape. They've morphed their identity just enough, and they're playing a lot more confident within it. And a lot of that has to do with what their quarterback's doing. Look, 14 for 20 for 245 yards has been the stat line for a winning, dominant football program this year at the quarterback position for Stetson Bennett. And that's all it needed to be. So he's done his job well. I think everyone's wondering, what's going to happen if Georgia gets in a shootout? And I'm sitting here wondering, what happens if no college football team can force Georgia into a shootout? And honestly, I think the latter's more likely in terms of that discussion.
Well, and to piggyback off to what you just said, Brooks, what areas have you seen Stetson Bennett improve in the most? And you talked about Georgia's identity morphing a little bit. What is their identity in your mind offensively right now?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of what he's, gotten better at, what he's progressed at, me personally, I think his processing has gotten a little bit quicker. He's going through reads a little bit faster, which has kind of eliminated some of those stacks. They're rolling him a lot more. He's throwing a lot better on the run, but he's done that for years. But most importantly to me, he is valuing the protection of the football. He is not turning it over. He is respecting the ball, which is very, very valuable when you have a defense this good. So he is not giving it away. He's not turning it over. He's turned it over twice this year, not putting it on the ground. Last year he had, I would count 6 or 7 turnover-worthy plays against Alabama in a matter of about 25 snaps. I mean, it was bad, putting the ball at risk quite often last year. He doesn't do that this year. He's protecting the football. I think that's most importantly the biggest change. Identity-wise, what is their identity offensively? I think their identity is to be balanced. They're going to be 50-50. They're going to attack you and attack the holes that you present on tape for 13 games or 13 weeks at this point if you're Alabama. So I think their lack of identity is, in fact, their identity. I don't think they have one specific style of winning, one specific style of play, one specific style of run. This is a very diverse and nameless and faceless offense.
Are you shocked that in today's college football world, we've seen quarterbacks leave when they don't get to play. Are you shocked JT Daniels is still with Georgia since he transferred there for a shot to play?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not necessarily shocked that he's still there because of, they're in the middle of a championship run, and I don't see anybody hitting the portal right now, not even like 50% guys. So I think everyone is surprised that it is indeed Stetson Bennett being the starting quarterback at the University of Georgia, which means you would have to assume that if we're surprised, JT Daniels for daggum sure is surprised. So I don't know if he necessarily leaves, but I don't know how that quarterback room shakes out, man, now, to be honest with you. Like, with COVID and NCAA giving everyone an additional year, there's no telling. And this is going to be our discussion for the next 4 years. If a guy's on the roster, he's got an additional year, and we don't know if he's coming or going. That's going to be what we're faced with the rest of the time. So I don't know what the heck's going to happen with JT Daniels. But, yeah, sorry. I know you called me on here to ask me questions to get insight. I ain't got a clue on that one.
Oh, I know. That's the greatest
That's a riddle
mystery
right there.
Because, I mean, we sat here, and I'm not going to lie, we sat here about week 3 or week 4 thinking, okay, this is a great ride by Stetson, but JT's going to come in and play. And now that Stetson's taken this, I guess by the horns and has led this offense, here's JT Daniels, who comes to Georgia for a shot to start. He's not starting, so what does he do?
Yeah, I don't know. I ain't got a clue.
Just keep riding the wave.
I really wish I did, but the idea was JT Daniels is going to go to the NFL draft after this year. That ain't happening. He ain't going to the NFL draft after starting 2 games, the Clemson and Vandy game. That's not happening. So, you're either transferring, coming back to Georgia, or retiring from football. One of those 3 things. And I think the most likely chances that, he comes back to Georgia next year because, let's say hypothetically, Georgia finishes this thing. They'll be favored in the rest of the 3 games that they play this year, assuming they carry it out. Let's say Georgia wins the national title. I think Stetson Bennett walks off into the sunset and sells thousands and thousands of dollars worth of insurance every month in the Athens, Clark County local area, and JT Daniels comes back as the quarterback for Georgia. I think that's what happens.
Yeah, then he ends up doing a radio show with Buck Bellew. That would be perfect.
Bingo. It'll be Stet and Buck on 680 The Fan here in Atlanta.
Yeah, and Brooks, I've got to ask you too. I've followed your coverage more than any other when it came to the George Pickens situation and his rehab and coming back. And there'd been all kind of rumors that he would make it back by the end of this season. He certainly appeared in the Georgia Tech game last week. He had a catch for 5 yards. Do you expect him to have an expanded role or a featured role in the game against Alabama?
Man, here's the deal. I've been told for the last couple of weeks, it's like hearing folklore, mythical tales.
Right.
About what George Pickens has been doing in practice. He's legitimately practicing. And he's going up against this Georgia defense, and he was on scout team prior to being quote unquote medically released and all that good stuff. So I'm confident that if they wanted to, I think George Pickens could go 10 targets, 8 receptions for $107 on Saturday. I wouldn't be surprised, but I doubt that happens. I think you see more of mix them in there as just another guy, and then maybe as the playoff run comes, you get an entire month basically between the SEC championship game and the first round playoff, about 24 days. I would imagine that first game of the playoff situation would be let's release George Pickens, or maybe it's this weekend. I don't know, but I don't know necessarily that they need him this week. They'll need him when they have to drive the football down the field and they're stagnant in the run game. They'd need him against the matchup against Michigan, a football team that I think can hold up and control the line of scrimmage for 4 quarters defensively. I don't exactly think Alabama's that football team this year.
Brooks, Alabama fans are nervous, to say the least, when it comes to the Alabama offensive line versus that Georgia defensive line, because Auburn, which was a decent team, not a great team, they pressured Alabama, 7 sacks in the Iron Bowl. Here comes Georgia with a way better defensive line that has had its way with its opponents all season. How much pressure do you anticipate seeing from Kirby Smart on Saturday against this Alabama offensive line?
So that's the crazy thing, man. This Georgia defense has been getting pressure without blitzing all year. I mean, it's been 4 or 5 rushers year round, dropping 7, dropping 6 defenders in pass protection. So, man, it's really, really tough to identify who's coming off this Georgia defense. I mean, they'll drop 305-pound defensive ends like Trayvon Walker into coverage and end up bringing the safety on a blitz. It's hard to know who's coming. It's hard to identify who's coming. I think that's something Alabama struggled with and has struggled with all year, just in terms of simulated pressures and basic protection, which you would imagine a young quarterback's going to do, right? He's the one that can see it all. He's the one that's supposed to be changing it, calling it all, and he misses quite a bit of those calls on Saturday. So I would be worried about that. And, yeah, I think Georgia pressures this kid, Bryce Young, for 4 quarters, just like they've been pressuring everybody else, man. They get after the passer. And they're allowing their defensive line, the guys that they've recruited, to get upfield and get after the quarterback and get vertical. That's something in years past they hadn't been doing. They've been very rush integrity happy. Just push the pocket, guys. Don't let the quarterback get out. Well, now they've realized, guys, we've got a ton of team speed. So if you want to get outside the pocket and scramble, please, I dare you. That's kind of how they're going about it nowadays.
And, Brooks, I wanted to ask you offensively for Georgia, Brock Bowers has turned into such a dynamic football player as a true freshman. Alabama's had trouble with tight ends, but I also think the hidden X factor. A guy that I really like as a player. He reminds me a lot of Kenyon Drake and what he did for Alabama back in 2015. But I think James Cook could give Alabama some problems as a runner and receiver.
Yeah, we saw, 3 weeks ago against Tennessee, James Cook had the biggest game of his career, his second career 100-yard rushing football game, and added a touchdown reception as well. Everything I saw them try to do in that football game with James Cook, I saw Todd Monken try to do October 17th of 2020 against Alabama in Tuscaloosa. The breakout game, the oh my God, James Cook is here game, Todd Monken tried to have that against Alabama a year ago. I think he comes back and has that again this year. I think he's been saving some things on tape. I think I've seen some things that I know are in the playbook that have not been called all year. I think they've been waiting for this football game to unleash some of those things. So if there is one coordinator in this country that has got some tricks up his sleeve, it's Todd Monken, because it's been, believe it or not, gentlemen, pretty vanilla to this point.
And Brooks, also, when you look at Alabama defensively, they've been really good against the run. So certainly they have to stop Georgia's running game. If they don't stop Zeus White, if they don't contain Cook, it's going to be a long night. How do you expect that matchup to go against Georgia's front, and how do you expect Georgia to try to handle someone like Will Anderson and then Dallas Turner? Because I do think the one thing that Alabama can do still is rush the passer. They've got even more sacks than Georgia does. They have probably the best pass rush Georgia's going to see. How do you expect Todd Monken to kind of counter that with this Georgia offense?
Yeah, they can get after the Q for sure. I think most importantly, when it comes to Will Anderson, you got to identify him. You got to find out where he's at, first of all. They've been playing him at traditional defensive end this year, which means he's been in line, which means he's been like basically in between the guard and the tackle a lot because they've dealt with some injuries up front. He's only about 240, 245 pounds. He's playing basically interior defensive line. It's like a modern-day 3 technique almost. He's playing 4-eye right inside the tackle a lot of the time. I would find him. I would attack him in the run game. At that point, I think if you can get double teams on their best player in the run game, that's pretty valuable and important. So I'd attack him there. And in terms of pass protection, just run the heck away from him. Everywhere you get an opportunity, run away from him. That's why Georgia is, I think, 3rd in the country in sacks allowed right now. They've been moving the heck out of the pocket all day long, and they only throw it about 20, 25 times a game anyway. So they move the pocket really well. They pass protect really well, and they game plan really, really well. I game plan away from Will Anderson in the passing game, and I run it down his throat every time I get a chance to in the run game, personally.
We've seen Georgia win an SEC championship. It came against Auburn. We've seen them get to the national championship game. They've won a semifinal game. But this is that Alabama hurdle in the SEC championship game, the importance of winning Saturday's game beyond just an SEC championship.
I mean, it's the Bama hurdle, guys. And I mean, for mental sanctity, this is if you're a Georgia fan, this is the one you got to do. It's the one you got to get over. And it wouldn't be any other way. It has to be Bama. So I think all things are lining up for Georgia fans to cross over a bunch of ghosts on their way to a potential national title.
Well, and Brooks, last question for you. What are the keys for Georgia in the 3 phases? Because I think the special teams, they're underrated. They do a great job with the punting game. They've become a good kick blocking unit. Also, the place kicking has been very solid. But what are the 3? What are your keys to the game for Georgia to win another SEC championship, the second one under Kirby Smart?
Yeah, man, just do it like you've been doing it. You know, be protective of the football offensively, defensively, get after them. I mean, play the way you've been playing defensively. Guys, I'll leave you with this. If Georgia's going to give up points this weekend, I think it's Jamison Williams out of the slot. Pay attention to that. I think you've got to be able to take care of whatever the heck's happening at the star position. Is Chris Smith fully healthy? Is Latavius Burnett on the field? Is Dan Jackson playing safety? What's happening at that 5th and 6th corner spot for the University of Georgia this weekend? That's what I'd be paying close attention to. Outside of that, do what you got. Do what's gotten you here. Be balanced offensively. Don't turn it over. lean on your defense, special teams, be adequate to above average.
Good stuff. Great, always, from the film guy, Brooks Austin. Let everybody know how to follow your coverage, and you're going to have, I know, blowout coverage for Sports Illustrated from Atlanta.
Yeah, you can holler at me on Twitter at Brooks Austin SI. If you want to check out any articles we write, head over to dogsdaily.com. That's our Sports Illustrated affiliated website. Appreciate you, gentlemen.
Thanks, Brooks. Brooks Austin with us this morning. Good insight there on the Saturday SEC Championship game. Let's get a break in. When we come back, we're going to wrap up Hour 1 of Talking Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
We are working with a clean slate now. No wrecks, no stalls, no traffic signal problems to report. You enjoy the break while you got it. It can change quickly, and watch out for the fog, especially if you got a long way to go this morning. You get 3 pieces of the crispy tender chicken and a buttermilk biscuit for $4.99 at Popeyes. University in Jordan, 72 in Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
So right now may be the perfect time for you to rethink how you pay for health care. And here's why. Not only is it time for open enrollment for a lot of people, it's also when you can join MediShare and save even more than usual. For the typical family, switching to MediShare saves about $500 a month, which is a game changer for a lot of people. Think what you could do with that. But if you join right now, MediShare is waiving their new member fee, so that's another $170 you'll save. And MediShare is really different. It's a community of Christians who share each other's healthcare bills. More than 400,000 people are members, and they've shared over $4 billion in medical bills. So, yes, they can handle your bills too. This may be the time to make the switch. Join before November 30th for the additional savings. It's so easy to find out more. They're great to talk to. In fact, you can get a price within 2 minutes. Here's the number. Call 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE. 855-51-BIBLE.
In today's real estate market, you need the right professionals to help make sure your home purchase is smooth and hassle-free. That's where Jacob Title comes in. Stan McDonald and the staff at Jacob Title cater to the realtor and clients who are looking for a top-flight closing experience. Jacob Title uses the latest and best technologies to ensure a safe and secure exchange of funds, and they pride themselves on great communication well before and during the real estate closing process. Jacob Title in Huntsville and Madison, and online at jacobtitle.com.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
Hi, everybody. Eli Gold here. Right now, indoor air quality occupies top-of-mind awareness for families and business owners. Rick Smith and the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems can take care of your indoor air quality concerns with their state-of-the-art indoor air quality solutions. Environmental Comfort's indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of airborne contaminants so you and your family can breathe clean, fresh air. If anyone in your family suffers from allergies, or if you just want the security of knowing the air you breathe inside your home is free from viruses, bacteria, pet dander, dust, and odors, Environmental Comfort Systems are the professionals to call. Environmental Comfort also carries state-of-the-art, high-efficiency comfort systems that increase home comfort, keep humidity in check, and help you save money on your energy bills. Give my friend Rick a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A fair amount of sunshine this Thursday afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the upper 60s and lower 70s. We're only going to drop into the mid and upper 40s as we head into the overnight. Partly sunny sky for your Friday. Really is going to be a fantastic end of the work week. Temperatures hanging out in the lower 70s. Some of us could even see the mid 70s, dropping into the upper 40s, lower 50s through the overnight, early into your Saturday morning. An isolated shower is going to be possible Saturday afternoon, but it does look like many of us are going to end up staying dry. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
And indeed, welcome back to Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. And Drew, North Alabama does not have a team in the Super 7 this year, but the Super 7 did get underway last night in Birmingham at the new Protective Stadium. A familiar face in the 7A game, Thompson taking on Central Phoenix City, which Central Phoenix City is coached by Patrick Nix, who that is where he is at now. But Thompson completes a three-peat. They get by Central Phoenix City last night, 38-22, to win their third straight title.
Yes, they do. Thompson's, just outstanding program under Mark Freeman. I mean, it's just amazing, the consistency with that program. They win it 38-22 last night, Scott. They were really up 38-8 in the fourth quarter, up 24-0 at halftime. They dominate that. And Central Phoenix City came in, undefeated at 13-0. Thompson came in at 13-1. 12-1. I always forget they play one less game, but 12-1 with their only loss to the Hoover Bucks in the regular season, which they avenged during their playoff run. And it was because Connor Harrell, their quarterback, missed the second half and the majority of that Hoover game. He was back for the rematch, and they won impressively. He actually got banged up last night, but came back in the game and, was able to play at a very high level. They did an outstanding job. Connor Harrell ending up 10 of 16, 271 yards, 2 touchdowns. Justin Pegues led the running game, 15 attempts for 54 yards. But the real story was MVP, the senior slot receiver, Scott, Ryan Pippins. He's a guy that's committed to Utah. He had been committed to Western Kentucky. Just recently got an offer from Kyle Whittingham's staff and flipped over there. He's only 5'8", 150 pounds, but he ends up, Scott, 7 catches, 203 yards, 2 touchdowns, and has over 1,300 receiving yards for the regular season, and then now for the season to wrap up his career as a Thompson Warrior with 3 straight state titles. And Pippins has been a guy that he can return kicks, he can return punts, he can do a dynamic job as a wide receiver. And Kyle Whittingham and the staff at Utah that's playing for a Pac-12 title against Oregon, they may be getting a steal here with Pippins, who he's not the biggest guy, but he could not be covered last night by that talented Central Phoenix City defense. And Thompson, we call him Thompson University, kind of joking, but they've got a dynasty going on right now. Great talent, great coaching staff there, and Mark Freeman starting to assert himself as one of the great coaches in the history of the state of Alabama.
Yeah, I believe that's 9 state titles for him.
Yeah,
I think so. That is your Super
3 different
7
places.
That is your Super 7 update. Again, I don't think we have any. It's tough this year. It was tough. Nobody from our area. I do believe, though, Mark Russell, you can hear their varsity partners show
he was
each
the white
week.
Hat last night. That's right.
He was the referee in last night's Class 7A state championship game. Staying on the high school level, if you are around John Hunt Park on Saturday, you might want to stay clear of it in the morning unless you are a huge fan of running. There is the Running Lane National Championship cross-country meet coming to town. There's over 2,200 runners going to be at John Hunt Park on Saturday. So if you are out and about early Saturday morning and you see all the cars at John Hunt Park, it is the Running Lane National Championship cross-country meet. So there'll be plenty of runners there. So you might not want to get on out and walk and run the course on Saturday if that is your normal routine. Auburn basketball picks up a win last night against Central Florida on the hardwood. Bruce Pearl and company, first game back since going to the Bahamas. They get the win 85-68. Georgia got a win, Drew, over Penny Hardaway and 18th ranked Memphis last night, 82-79.
Huge win right there for Tom Crean. Actually saw Coach Crean, said hello, shook his hand when I was in Atlanta last week for Thanksgiving and the Hoopsgiving, Scott. He was over there needing to recruit. They need some talent over there at Georgia. But that's a big win. You know, Penny Hardaway, he's got Imani Bates. He's got a very talented roster over there. I've always said he couldn't coach a lick. I still believe that. And I think he's a great guy. But I know he's got Larry Brown helping him now with the Memphis Tigers. But I don't expect Memphis to go to the Final Four. I think they've got some coaching deficiencies there. But it's a big win for the SEC because it had been a rough start for Tom Crean and the Georgia Bulldogs before getting that win last night.
And former Auburn head coach Cliff Ellis still at it.
There he is.
He got a win last night. Coastal Carolina dominating South Carolina 80-56 on the hardwood.
Speaking of somebody that's in trouble. And I love Frank. Yeah. But it's, oh, man.
Oh, that's hour one in the books. We're going to break down the SEC championship game big time. We're going to go to Atlanta when we come back because Jake Crane needs to join us. We need to get his thoughts on the SEC championship game. Who does he have, Auburn or Alabama or Georgia?
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, here letting you know we are proud supporters of Madison Academy football. Stop into the University Kia today and shop our large selection of new Kias, including the all-new Telluride 8-passenger SUV, the stylish new K5, and sporty new Seltos. Visit universitykia.com to view all our great offers and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia today, because we want to see you in a Kia. Go Mustangs!
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
We are working with a clean slate now. No wrecks, no stalls, no traffic signal problems to report. You enjoy the break while you got it. It can change quickly, and watch out for the fog, especially if you got a long way to go this morning. You get 3 pieces of the crispy tender chicken and a buttermilk biscuit for $4.99 at Popeyes. University in Georgia, 72 in Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A fair amount of sunshine this Thursday afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the upper 60s and lower 70s. We're only going to drop into the mid and upper 40s as we head into the overnight. Partly sunny sky for your Friday. Really is going to be a fantastic end of the work week. Temperatures hanging out in the lower 70s. Some of us could even see the mid 70s, dropping into the upper 40s, lower 50s through the overnight, early into your Saturday morning. An isolated shower is going to be possible Saturday afternoon, but it does look like many of us are going to end up staying dry. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Heads up, sports bettors. Right now you can try VSiN All Access free for 30 days with no credit card required. Visit vsin.com/free month to sign up now.
On Saturday, third-ranked Alabama, now a 7-point underdog in the SEC championship game against top-ranked Georgia, the over-under 49.5. Taysom Hill getting the start at quarterback tonight for the Saints as they host the Cowboys on Thursday Night Football. New Orleans trying to snap a 4-game losing streak. They're a 4.5-point underdog against a Cowboys team that, after ripping off 6 straight wins, have lost 3 of their last 4. Tomorrow night, the first of the Power 5 Conference Championship games this weekend. 10th-ranked Oregon getting 2.5 against 17th-ranked Utah in Vegas in the Pac-12 title game. The Utes dominated the Ducks in the regular season 2 weeks ago.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Welcome to Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And just like that, we are ready for hour number 2 of Talking Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone as we continue to count down towards this year's SEC championship game in Atlanta. A game, by the way, you'll be able to hear right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. 3 o'clock kickoff inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Again, Alabama 6-0 all-time in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Some have been scarier. Some have been a little more nervous than others. One of those, the Alabama-Georgia National Championship game. Will we see another thriller like we saw there? Or maybe the Georgia-Alabama SEC Championship game where Alabama had to work a little extra to get that win? We don't know, Drew. Feeling is if Alabama is going to pull this one out, it could resemble those 2 other meetings inside Atlanta.
It's going to have to be a close one, that's for sure. Georgia definitely comes in with the advantage, and our next guest is with us for a few quick minutes. Very busy guy, one of the fastest rising shows in the United States, part of the Volume Sports and the Colin Cowherd Network, and you can hear him each and every day and see him on YouTube as well, starting at 2 o'clock Central Time. And that is Jake Crane with the J-Boy Show. Jake, welcome back. You're with Drew and Scott. How are you?
Hey, gentlemen, appreciate y'all having me back on. And, it's been pretty nuts here lately.
No doubt. Before we break down Georgia, Alabama, though, we got to get your thoughts on Brian Harsin and the changes that he's already made to this Auburn coaching staff. We see Mike Bobo, resigning and or leaving the program after year 1. Your thoughts there, and we already saw him make a change during the middle of the season with Cornelius Williams, someone you know very well. But your thoughts on making a change at the OC spot?
Yeah, I mean, I think you had to do something. You know, it's funny. Mike Bobo to me is like the actor that does really good reading the script, but he can't improvise at all. Know, he just once he got off, the 10 to 12, 12 to 15 play script, he wasn't innovative or creative enough with the personnel that Auburn had against defenses that were worth their salt to move the ball. I mean, you can't play the way Auburn did offensively in the second half of Mississippi State on and then going to score 14 against South Carolina and totally forgetting. It's like somebody would hit Mike Bobo with a neuralizer from Men in Black about halfway through the first quarter, and he just runs split zone and play action. So he had to make a move. To be honest with you, I was surprised that Derek Mason wasn't let go either. I don't think he's been very good throughout the whole season. I mean, he kept Auburn as a three-man rush team for halfway through the season until somebody went up to him and said, dude, what are you doing? You're a 4-down team. So look, he had to make a move. 6-6 isn't acceptable, especially when you're 6-2. And you can do all this talking and go up to the podium and this, that, and the other. You can't blow leads. You can't blow leads in 4 straight games, and he's going to find that out very quickly. And, the more coordinated – you only have so many coordinator moves in the tank. And next year you go to Alabama and you go to Georgia. We don't know what Bo Nix is doing from a recruiting standpoint. We don't know where they're going to finish. But Brian Harsin's finding out real quick, this ain't a walk in the park.
We've seen Brian Harsin, though. He seems comfortable in his own skin. He brought in Mike Bobo. He brought in Derek Mason because he looked like he needed some SEC experience. Does he go out now and get coordinators that are Brian Harsin-ish type guys, forget the SEC experience, and bring in guys that fits who he is rather than try to fit somebody around the SEC?
Well, a big reason is structurally through recruiting. Obviously, those coordinators have relationships with the high school head coaches. They know the lay of the land. But you can get that done with a recruiting coordinator and a liaison. You should have done that in the first place. I laugh. People are like, well, it really wasn't a good fit with Mike Bobo and Brian Harsin. Well, Brian Harsin hired Mike Bobo. Did you interview him? I'm not going to give you credit for putting out a fire that you started. That's why I've never understood that. you do the interviewing, you do the hiring. You should have done that in the first place. And we talk about structured recruiting. You do that with the recruiting coordinator. You do that with a high school liaison and high school relationship coordinator. So, I mean, there's other ways to do it, but he should have done it in the first place. I don't understand why you go around what you were eventually going to do.
Yeah, great thoughts there from Jake Crane of the J-Boy Show. National college football, and now this is Championship Saturday, Jake. Of course, everyone focusing on where your home base, Atlanta, where the University of Alabama taking on Georgia. It's the game everyone's waited on all year. But Alabama comes in, a banged-up football team, a one-dimensional team, really. The Georgia Bulldogs have been the most complete team in the country this year. How do you see this matchup? I know I saw early on you said you would take you would lay the points. I think it was 6.5 when it started. With Georgia being favored, it's now reached 7. How are you feeling about this matchup?
Man, I actually got it lucky. I got lucky. I got it on FanDuel when it was -6. Shout out FanDuel. Now, man, look, Georgia's been the most consistent team. They played the most complimentary football with the best roster. Alabama's going to get up to play this game. I expect that Alabama defense to come out hot. I've heard they've had a really good week of practice. You talked to some of the coaches on the inside there. I think they'll slow Georgia down early. But I don't see how Alabama consistently scores points or stops this Georgia front seven. If you can't stop Auburn's front four from rushing, best of luck against the group that they found in the volcano at Mordor, right there in one of the 7 realms. So good luck with that. I don't think either team scores over 24 points. I got this as a Georgia 24-14, 24-17 type game. I really like the under 2 at 50.5. And Georgia's a team, when you look at it, they don't have a ton of weaknesses. Very interested to see how many passes Stetson Bennett throws. But at the end of the day, these are the two teams that deserve to be there. I just think Georgia is the better team, and they actually have the better roster.
You look at Georgia, and we've been trying to find ways that Alabama can attack or ways that Alabama can come out. If you look at Georgia, and if you had to say, okay, this is where they are the weakest at, where would that spot be?
If I had to say that the weak spot, or maybe the biggest advantage that maybe Alabama has over Georgia positionally, it's funny. You got to say the quarterback position. I mean, Bryce is a lot more kind of innovative and creative than Stetson is. Stetson's just kind of, who he is. I would say from a dynamic offensive playmaking standpoint, I think Alabama with Jamison Williams, even against that Georgia defense, can hit a few quick strikes. Because, look, you're not going 8 to 12 plays against this Georgia defense consistently. So the matchup, I'm very interested to see the Alabama wide receivers versus the Georgia secondary. Watch that Georgia secondary get tested if they can give Bryce time. That's the matchup I'm looking at.
And then, Jake, with the college football playoff field to be set on Sunday, I know you like Georgia in the SEC championship game. Are we going to see any chaos? Are we going to see any upsets in your mind? Is there a game or two of this championship weekend that you're looking at where we could see an upset or two, or do you think it's going to hold?
Man, look, this year it's been crazy. I'm going to continue with the craziness of this season. I'm looking at Cincinnati, man. That Houston game is very interesting to me. I mean, they're 10.5. Everybody's already penciling Cincinnati in. And I'm looking out there at Oklahoma State, who's playing Baylor in the Big 12 championship. You win that one, it could get awfully interesting. But I do like Georgia in the SEC. Give me Wake. I think they'll upset Pitt in the ACC championship. I like Oklahoma State in the Big 12. I like Michigan in the Big 10. I think we may see Michigan in the national championship game against Georgia.
Wow, that would be a heck of a matchup. And how much – I know you also on the J-Boy
Show. No love,
show.
though, for my Iowa Hawkeyes.
Oh, yeah. But why?
No love.
Well, I don't know how they're going to score.
Yeah, I mean, Scott said the same thing about their offense all year.
Yes.
Yeah, they're a little challenged offensively. Let's put it that way.
Last couple of minutes with Jake Crane of the J-Boy Show. Well, and now in your mind, if you handicap the Heisman race at all? It seems to be a wide open one. I think we know if Alabama wins, Bryce Young will win this thing and win it in a walk. But if Georgia wins as expected, how many twists and turns are we going to have with the Heisman Trophy race?
Man, if there was ever a year to give it to a defensive guy, this is the year.
Yeah.
But they won't do it. They just won't do it. I mean, you could have somebody throw for 3. Jordan Davis and Will Anderson need to go to New York. I don't understand how those two guys could not go to New York from Georgia and Alabama. What I'm interested to see is, like you're saying, what if Alabama gets crushed by Georgia and Bryce doesn't do anything and Kenny Pickett balls at Pitt? I mean, if they're not going to give it to a defensive guy, I still think, it's a play-in.
Well, Will Anderson's not even on the Lot Award semifinal list. So, I mean, he's not going to get the Heisman.
Brock Bowers isn't on the Mackey Award list because he's a freshman. That's hilarious. I thought y'all were giving the best player the award, not the, hey, you stuck around, we appreciate it award.
Absolutely. Completely agree with you, Jake. No doubt about that. And then finally, one more final thought from your two. The coaching carousel continues to turn. We saw Notre Dame decide to promote Marcus Freeman to head coach. They've been able to retain most of their staff, Tommy Rees, Lance Taylor. A lot of these guys are staying, not going with Brian Kelly. We see Brian Kelly go to LSU. So in Oklahoma now is looming out there. Will it breed Brent Venables? Your thoughts on the coaching carousel?
Well, it's not like a carousel anymore. It's kind of like those spinning teapots at the carnival. You got to hang on to the handlebars and try not to puke. Look, it's been crazy. I mean, Lincoln going to USC. You got Brian Kelly basically telling Notre Dame that, you're good looking, but you're not good looking enough for me to marry you. I want to win the whole thing. I like the hire by Notre Dame. I like it. I think Marcus was ready. He's young. He's energetic. He knows ball. You're hearing Dabo to Oklahoma and bringing Brent with him. Then you're hearing Brent to Oklahoma. I'm very interested to see if Manny Diaz stays at Miami. His buyout just all of a sudden got $2 million cheaper before the first of the year. I wonder why that happens. Must just be a coincidence. Not. So I'm very interested to see where it goes from here. We've got some coordinator searches that are going to continue. I love the hire by Florida with Billy Napier. That guy's got a chance to be really special.
Well, the J-Boy Show is going to be special today and the rest of this week, getting ready for the SEC Championship game and Championship Saturday. Jake, let everybody know how to follow you and your show and the outstanding job you guys are doing over there with Volume Sports.
Oh, man, I appreciate it, Drew. Appreciate you guys having me. Yeah, we're live every weekday, from 2 to 3 Central. Got Cole Kublik today, Jamari Salyer, Georgia offensive lineman. We're talking everything from coaching carousel all the way to the championship games, the playoffs, and no politics, man, all ball. So we're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio as well. It's always up. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Jake.
Thanks, Jake.
See ya.
Drew, let me ask you this. And so we've seen Brian Kelly go to LSU, Lincoln Riley now to USC, Billy Napier at Florida. Oklahoma still has that vacancy left. But of those 3 coaches, which one's going to face the most pressure in year 2? Year 1 is going to be some up and down. You're going to get your first class in there. But when it comes to year 2, we've seen the college football landscape change. Used to be 3 years, and then you start to feel that pressure if you haven't gotten where they think you should be. Who's going to face that most pressure in year 2 of their new current job?
Oh, it's going to be Brian Kelly because, the expectations at LSU, you look at Ed Ogeron, he wins a national championship, Scott, and 2 years later he's fired. So you've got to win. You've got to win big. You certainly you're going to have to, slay the dragon known as Alabama. Ed Ogeron did that, but he couldn't continue to feed the beast. Is Brian Kelly going to be able to do that? I watched a little bit of his first team meeting with his players yesterday. He continued to make reference of wanting to compete against the best, and that's why he left Notre Dame. That just shows you where the climate is now, Scott. Notre Dame is not considered, the elite of the elite anymore, which I think is outstanding. Couldn't happen to a bunch of nicer people, considering what I think of the Irish.
Does Brian Kelly stay there at Notre Dame if they are in the ACC full time?
That's a good question. If they were in a league, probably still not. I still think it comes down to the cold weather, the academic standards, and just overall, I don't think he could quite get out of the administration at Notre Dame. In other words, Nick Saban can go to Alabama and say, "I want this, this, and this," and within a day or two, they're going to approve it. They're going to have a board of trustees meeting. They're going to approve the budget. It's just like when they did the science and performance, the athlete performance center that they just opened, the state of the art one. They all of a sudden snap some fingers. It seems like it's not that simple, but it just seems that way. And
there's certain coaches at certain programs that can do that. Kirby Smart at Georgia can go to Georgia and say, "Hey, look, I want this. It's done." Dabo Swinney can say that at Clemson. Yes.
Kirby got they finally built an indoor facility at Georgia. So and they're building one at Auburn now. But again, I just don't think that in the end that Brian Kelly thought he could go to the administration at Notre Dame and be like, we don't have this, we don't have that, and get it approved and get it built. I mean, there was some talk about that with Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma because he wanted an academic center built, and Oklahoma was kind of balking at that. So again, but I will say this for the Sooners. They've got to name their next head football coach. We'll see if it's going to be a Brent Venables. I mean, those Dabo rumors are crazy. I mean, wow. If he were to leave Clemson, but I would still be very surprised by that. But again, I mean, what Oklahoma is going to have to understand, they've got to completely commit themselves to winning at the highest level if you want to compete in the SEC. And I think Brian Kelly felt like with Scott Woodward, the new president at LSU, that the infrastructure was there. They were going to give him whatever he needed to win, and he could not necessarily get that at Notre Dame.
Does it say anything about Brian Kelly that his entire staff balked at going to LSU and stays at Notre Dame with the new coach?
Not exactly, and I'll give you a good analogy here. And
okay.
This is from your time. You may even remember this because you grew up in Big Ten country. You followed the Big Ten very closely in your career. I know you probably remember when Nick Saban left Michigan State to go to LSU.
I was an intern and interviewed Nick Saban at Michigan State when he came to Iowa City one year.
Nice. So you have interviewed Coach Saban. Well, the thing is, if you remember correctly, I don't think any of those coaches went with Coach Saban to LSU.
Okay.
Because Bobby Williams, remember, who was one of his lead assistants with the Spartans, got that job. And I think everybody stayed with Bobby Williams. Now, it didn't go well. And within about 3 or 4 years, they had to make a change. So and I think you can see some of the same stuff. A lot of these guys are staying at Notre Dame. They've been there because Brian Kelly's had a lot of his staff together for a while. A lot of these guys did not want to leave. They've been at Notre Dame 12 years, some of them. So they decided to stay and work for Marcus Freeman. So I don't think it's really a detriment to Brian Kelly. It's just some of these assistant coaches. And Tommy Rees, remember, he's a Notre Dame grad. He played the quarterback for the Irish for Brian Kelly. He's the OC, probably going to be given more freedom because Brian Kelly he's an offensive guy. He has a heavy hand with the offense. He'll probably get more of a free rein under Marcus Freeman. So I think that's why you see that happen. I don't really think it's a red flag or anything like that. And LSU is going to be given and Brian Kelly a huge budget for staff. He's not going to have a hard time getting quality assistant coaches to come to Red Stick.
All right, Shane Sean with us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Good morning, Shane Sean.
Good morning, guys. How are y'all?
Morning, sir.
Hey, here's my question. Why did Lincoln Riley and Brian Kelly have to leave their teams before season was over? I mean, that's the only thing that gets on my nerves bad, especially Brian Kelly, because they still have a glimmer of a hope to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, Drew, that's an easy one, right? I mean, that's signing
the early
day.
signing period, man. That's what it's all about.
Well, that's what I thought. That's the only thing that I could think of. But man, they could have waited another week or two.
Well, Drew, I mean, you know more of this about it than anything. I mean, I mean, right now, this is that hot time, right? This is that time where you're making those final impressions.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you're trying to make the final impressions. You're trying to, LSU had some really good players committed. They've been in the top 10 in the country all year, so you're trying to keep those guys committed to your program. You would also there's some uncommitted players that are great players, especially some wide receivers, the Kendrick Laws, the Shaz Prestons, the people of that nature. And Aaron Anderson has already flipped from LSU to Alabama, so you're wanting to keep some of these kids in state. There's no doubt about it. You're also wanting to get a jump on the transfer portal. I mean, let's be honest about that too, because there's going to be a lot of movement. Look at all the players that have already left Oklahoma right now. I mean, and they still got a bowl game to play. But I mean, you're wondering who's going to be on your football team. Spencer Rattler's already entered the transfer portal. People wonder about Caleb Williams.
No big loss.
And things of that nature. But Shane Sean. But again, it's when you're doing this. And I've been talking about this all week. That's where if they didn't have the early signing period, I think you might see some coaches wait a little bit longer. But with this early signing period, there's a heightened sense of urgency. And even Brian Kelly with a chance with a football team in Notre Dame to get to the playoff, he's still going to bail out and go to his new place. And I think secretly he knows his team is not a college football playoff team. And if they get there, it'll be just another story of him facing an elite program, which Notre Dame is not.
That ain't no
and get
secret,
smoked.
though. That ain't no secret.
Right.
But I mean, that's the one thing that I do not like about this early signing period. Then, if it's going to cause that to happen, I think that if you start a year with your team, you should be with them till the very last play is.
But we say, here's the thing, Shane Sean, you bring up an interesting point that's going to get debated. College football players are pulling out of bowl games. They sit out. Yeah. Tennessee had one yesterday that's not going to play in the bowl game. We've got coaches now that leave before the end of the season. Who's right and who's wrong in all of that?
Well, I can tell you who's wrong, and I can tell you nobody's right if you abandon your team before the last play of the year is played. Coach, player, anybody. I think there ought to be a penalty if you sit out of a bowl game, and I think there ought to be a really stiff penalty for any coach that leaves his team before the last play of the year is played. I mean, that's just my feelings on it, though.
Yeah, and I can understand that. I mean, you have seen these teams, go ahead and at least these coaches finish the regular season. It's just the postseason in many cases where you won't see them. And like Scott said, unfortunately, if it's not the college football playoff, many of these bowl games are meaningless.
Right.
They've turned into that way.
There's no penalty you can assess a player that's done with college going on to the NFL anyways. If they forgo the bowl game, I mean, you can't. What are you going to do? I mean, there's not a penalty you could assess to that, but you can the coaches.
Interesting. All right, Shane Sean, thanks for the thoughts.
Thank you, man.
Hey, guys.
All right, let's stay on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Hunter is with us this morning. Good morning, Hunter.
What's up, Hunter?
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good.
So I just want to bring up a point he was making about if you're a college coach, you should stay to the last night to play. It's a job. If the school don't like what you're producing, they're going to fire you mid-season.
And we've seen that.
Yeah, we saw Ed Ogeron.
Right. So why, if a coach has something come up better, more money, it's human nature. They're going to leave that school to go and try to not just better themselves, but better their family. It's just like us, the working class. If somebody offers them more money, better hours, that's a no-brainer. They're gone. They're going to go that better job.
Yeah, that's true. If someone came in and offered me a better position with more money, I'm leaving. I'm giving a 2-week notice or whatever, and I'm gone. In the college football world, if someone offers you $90 million to come to a said program and you take it, in that world, you leave instantly. There is no 2-week notice. You just take it and leave. Nobody can fault you, I think, for that. And I think the way that the college landscape is and the way everything is, and Drew has made a good point, that early signing period is these coaches leaving now so they can get a jump on that. If we didn't have that, Brian Kelly probably stays and coaches Notre Dame at the bowl game, maybe.
Yeah, it may be.
Lincoln Riley thing.
Yeah.
The early signing period, you know as well as I do, in order to keep a job in college, you've got to win. And it's shown with Orgeron at LSU, 2 years from winning a title, those 2 horrible years, and he's gone. You've got to win. It's cutthroat.
Well, you have to. And then Gene Chizik, I mean, he won it all in 2010. He was gone 2 years later as well.
The life expectancy of a college football coach used to be 3 to 5 years. Now it's 2 to 3 years.
Right. It's definitely a brutal profession.
All right, Hunter. Thanks for the thoughts.
Another one. Hey, got a question for you.
Sure, go ahead. One more.
Do y'all think that Lincoln Riley is avoiding the SEC?
No question about it. He wanted no part of it. He told the Oklahoma administration that his program is soft. He's an outstanding offensive mind, one of the best in the country. But defense is a disease. It has been for a while in the Big 12 and in Oklahoma, and he couldn't solve that riddle. And he decided to go out to Southern California to play in the Pac-12. It's a softer conference. It's more about being wide open, being pretty on offense and scoring points, and that's what he wanted to do, and that's why he left.
Hey, but that contract sure made it look like he didn't want to leave, eh?
Yeah, that's the thing too, and it was what we said yesterday and the day before. Be careful with what you read about Lincoln Riley's contract. USC is a private school. Those numbers there are not those are not official numbers. Those because they don't have to release everything. But Drew, Lincoln Riley made no bones about it. He did not want Oklahoma in the SEC. And when you say that, that leaves yourself up for interpretation as to why, whether it be the quality of football or whether it be you think long-term interest for the school. But obviously, one way or another, it's dodging the SEC.
Really is. It's dodging the SEC, and we'll see how he does in the Pac-12. USC has really struggled for consistency since Pete Carroll had to resign following the NCAA investigation into Reggie Bush when he was letting Will Ferrell and Will Smith and whoever else come to practice, and then you're shocked that cheating is going on. I mean, whatever. But now NIL is a little bit easier to deal with that kind of stuff. But still, we'll see what happens, and if Lincoln Riley can be the guy to get USC football back on track, so Colin Cowherd actually can be relevant and talk and be able to talk about the Pac-12 all the time like they actually don't suck.
All right, Hunter. Thanks for your thoughts, bud. But we got to get to a break.
Have a good one.
All right, let's get to a break. When we come back, it's always about Colin Cowherd, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
We got to get a break because when we come back, I'm going to talk some college basketball.
Yeah, Brian Penny Collins from Tennessee State. He just signed one of the best athletes in the state of Alabama. Tennessee State program on the rise. He's going to join us next to talk some college hoops here on 97.7.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Take your taste buds back in time with a trip to the all-new Bubby's Diner, offering a variety of mouth-watering food, from delicious starters to 50-style diner food and meat-and-free meals, featuring owner and Huntsville native Chris Bubby Belcher's family's homemade recipes. Open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner at 8412 Whitesburg Drive in the former Gibson's Barbecue. And you can enjoy $50 worth of delicious Bubby's Diner food for half price with this week's Zone Deal. On sale now online at 977ESPN.com.
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now, and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you, so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Never mind fall and football being in the air. We want to taste it.
And never mind not being able to tailgate at the game. Let's create the ultimate barbecue experience in your own backyard.
You said it, Foster Brooks, and that's where Brooks & Collier comes in. Big selection of outdoor furniture.
And a big selection of grills and smokers like Traeger, Big Green Egg, Blaze, even DCS, and more.
This is the good stuff.
And Paul, we definitely got the accessories. And remember, we deliver. Visit us at 813 Meridian Street and shop online at brooksandcollier.com.
Hey friends, Eli Gold here for Environmental Comfort Systems. If you're concerned about the air quality inside your home, give my friend Rick Smith a call at Environmental Comfort Systems. Their indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of indoor air contaminants. Give the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and see how comfortable you can be. Breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
Have you ever found exactly the right new car or truck with the exact features that you want and nothing else? Well, at Woody Anderson Ford, we can promise you just that. Hey, Bobby White back again, and you can now factory order your new Ford today, and you'll get your new car or truck exactly the way you want it. And there's no extra cost to custom order. Plus, you get $1,000 off MSRP on top of any additional factory rebates. This applies to 2021 F-150, Explorer, Ranger, and Expedition. It's a win-win with a custom order at Woody Anderson Ford. You get the colors, the features, and the options that fit your life. Plus, you get notified when it's built, shipped, and ready to deliver. Listen, buying a new car or truck is likely the second largest investment you'll ever make. So why settle? Get exactly what you want with a custom factory order today. And get $1,000 off MSRP. See how at WoodyAndersonFord.com or at the corner of Jordan Lane and Sparkman Drive. Hope to see you soon.
What can you expect when you shop for a firearm at Bullet & Barrel? Expect great prices. We specialize in quality over quantity. Expect great service. Our professional sales staff is never pushy. We won't talk you into something that doesn't fit your needs. You have the right to make a smart, informed decision. Expect Bullet & Barrel, Alabama's only 5-star indoor shooting range, to support you after the sale. Bullet & Barrel, 3252 Lehman Ferry Road. Like or follow us on Facebook. Come see us soon.
In 2 years, you can have a career that makes sense for you. Skill up and earn a living working with your hands. Or work on the front line of computer information systems and cybersecurity. Get a degree that lets your healing heart take care of people. Help design and manufacture the most advanced cars, machinery, or even aerospace components. In just 2 years, great careers are within your reach at Drake State Community and Technical College. Visit drakestate.edu to apply.
Ho, ho, ho! Bob Baumhauer here, and Baumhauer's Victory Grill is kicking off the holiday season right. From our always fresh buttermilk fried chicken tenders to our homemade Nana's chicken salad, and of course our world-famous buffalo wings. We've got your holiday meals covered with our legendary party-ready trays. And what's a holiday party without gifts? Now through December 24th, get a $5 bonus card with every $25 in gift cards purchased. Plus, our signature sauces make great stocking stuffers too. Merry Christmas!
Got a vehicle that's hit a house in the 4000 block of Piedmont that's south of Drake. They paged it out with injury and possible entrapment. They've now canceled rescue, and HPD says just a minor injury. Eastbound mile marker 6 on 565, no injury. Bird Spring and Maxwell reported as possible injuries. The Somnodent from Dr. Sandman's insurance accepted for sleep apnea and for snoring. It's an easy-to-use oral device, no mask, no hose. 350-CARE. Twitter or RandallSandlin.com. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to us on our YouTube channel and Twitch. Just search 97.7 ESPN. We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Chuck Oliver. Listen to me coming up at noon today. Now, back to Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
And welcome back to Talkin Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Let's get right down to it. We've been talking a lot of college football, rightfully so, because we have a big game coming up on Saturday, but we're going to put the football away for just a little bit and pump up the basketball since we are in the middle of basketball season.
Yes, we are, and it's just really getting cranked up as far as pre-conference goes. But also in this past month, it's been the early signing period, Scott, for college basketball. We had Canute Wood on the show yesterday, a young man that's an outstanding athlete at Brooks High School, a two-way guy, played football this year, led the state of Alabama in receiving. We talked about that, 1,400 receiving yards, 18 touchdowns, but he's been a 4-year stalwart for the Brooks Lions and Brian Wright on the hardwood, 2 straight Final Four appearances, and now he made it official yesterday, signing with the Tennessee State Tigers, becoming the first Division I athlete in the history of his school, and he's going to play for our next guest, who's, as our good friend Scott Whittle says, probably the most high-energy coach in all of college basketball, someone that's got the Tennessee State Tigers on the right track. He's in year 4, had an 18-win season in year 2. A tough year last year, but last year was so unusual due to the COVID uncertainty. But certainly this year they're off to a 1-5 start, but they played a very difficult schedule in the non-conference. And Tennessee State is really a program that's up and coming and rising. And Brian Penny Collins, their head basketball coach, has been good enough to give us a few quick minutes this morning on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline to talk some Tennessee State and Canute Wood, and we're honored to be able to do that right now. Coach, you're with Drew DeArmond and Scott Theisen. How are you this morning?
Drew and Scott, man, I'm doing good, man. Thanks so much for having me, man. How you guys doing?
Doing good, and Coach, right in the middle of basketball season, right in the heart. It's got to be a good time for you.
Yeah, it's definitely that time. You can feel it in the air. You know, that weather's starting to change, getting a little colder. We're getting close to that Christmas time, and conference players right around the corner. So, definitely an exciting time for college basketball.
No doubt, Coach. And I know a couple years ago in year 2, you guys will go to the College Insider Tournament. You win 18 games. I know everybody was pumped up and excited. You doubled the win total from year 1, but last year was tough. No doubt COVID had a huge effect on a lot of programs around the country. How is your program now recovering from that in year 4 and looking forward to, of course, OVC play and having a good year this year for the Tigers?
Yeah, you said it, to go from year 1 to year 2, we had that big jump, and then year 3, COVID just stripped everything away from us. And now that we're in year 4, it's kind of like we're starting over again. We got 11 new guys on this roster. Although we got 11 new guys, we have a very, very talented roster. And that's why you see that we're in these games and so close. It's just right now, we've got off to a slow start with 1-5, but our schedule has been challenging. We've been on the road a lot, but I think that if we can learn these lessons that we've been learning in these games, I believe the Tigers got a chance to turn the corner and come conference play. I think we can be a real dangerous out.
No question.
Let's talk about that schedule. How tough was it not being able to play? You look at the schedule, not being able to play last night against Georgia State and not playing again until the 4th. Your last game was November 28th. That's a little bit of a gap, Coach.
Yeah, it is. I'm looking at it more as a blessing than a curse because we were coming off an 11-day, just no days off. We 6-day road trip out from South Dakota to Nebraska and came back home and played a game. And then we were practicing, getting ready for Georgia State. So we really hadn't had any time off. The guys were a little weary. So when that game got canceled, it may be a blessing for us. And now we can go up to Chicago State, a nice little bus trip, and hopefully we'll be fresh and ready to go on Saturday.
Well, and Coach, I know you're looking forward to getting that win, but you've already been to our area, to the Rocket City. You took on Alabama A&M in your first regular season game. I know you didn't get the results you wanted, but you've obviously been recruiting up here for a good while. As we mentioned to start the segment, we had Canute Wood on the show yesterday. He's an outstanding basketball player. I've had a chance to watch him on multiple occasions. This year he showcased some talent on the gridiron, but he talked about you and the special relationship he has with the coaching staff at Tennessee State. You guys were very aggressive in recruiting this young man since he was a ninth grader. It paid off for you. He had 40 the other night, so I know you're looking forward to having him be a part of the Tennessee State Tigers. He's the first Division I student athlete in basketball to come from that school. But talk about what you saw in Canute Wood. I know he's now officially signed with you, and what your vision is for him for this program at Tennessee State.
To be honest with you, man, I can't even really put into words how excited I am about Canute. He's a special, special kid. You know, without the basketball, without the football, without sports, he's just a special kid, special person. And I like being around him. I like talking to him. I just believe that, you know, I'll get every ounce of everything about him, but just because we really connect. And as far as a basketball player, I mean, I think what he can bring to our team is second to none. I wish we had Canute on our roster right now. I think that's how special of a player he is, his ability to make his teammates better, his IQ, his scoring ability, his overall feel for the game. And then, then the fact that he's a winner. Everything he does, he wins. To be playing basketball, your whole career, and then to say, you know what, I think I can help the football team be better, and then go out there and become one of the best receivers in Alabama and help them to a record-breaking year. That tells you what kind of kid Canute is. He's a warrior. When he has a mission that he wants to get accomplished, he gets it done, and that comes from the work ethic that his parents put in him, and people like Scott that's in his life, and he's a gym rat. And he's just got that relentless mindset, and we're hoping all of those qualities that he has, he brings them to Tennessee State, and it becomes infectious to the rest of our team as well.
You don't have to look very far, though, to find good talent. You're in the Nashville area. If you draw just a big circle around there, the North Alabama area kind of falls into that circle. On your recruiting trails and your recruiting stops, what is it about the basketball in North Alabama that tends to produce the recruits that can help programs like yours at Tennessee State?
Yeah, just this area, obviously from here to East Tennessee, to West Tennessee with Memphis, and obviously to the South in Alabama, there's so much high-level talent. And those kids in Alabama, they love the game. They are around it. They've been playing at such an early age. And I've always done really good with Alabama guards. I had the best Alabama guard I ever had was a kid named Justin Pride.
Oh, yeah.
About him. He won a lot of state championships. And he came and played for me at Columbia State Junior College when I was a head coach. And he helped me go to 2 straight national tournaments, an Elite 8 finish and a Sweet 16 finish. And we were ranked number 3 in the country with him. So hopefully Canute can bring that same kind of love and winning ways to Tennessee State.
Well, there's no question about that. I think we're all excited about his opportunity, Coach, and we're excited for Tennessee State basketball. As you've seen your team so far, the amazing thing, too, is just the city of Nashville. There's so much good college basketball there. Our great friend Lenny Acuff is doing an outstanding job at Lipscomb. They've already knocked off Dayton. We know what Belmont has done. They just nearly won the ESPN Invitational, losing to the Dayton Flyers in the championship game. But certainly they have an outstanding program there with Coach Alexander. And then with your program and then Jerry Stackhouse, what he's trying to do at Vanderbilt, Nashville is kind of a haven for college basketball a little bit.
Yeah, there's so many great things going on right now in the city. It's not just for basketball, but the city itself from a business standpoint, one of the most progressive cities in the country right now. People moving in and out of moving into the city every day, and there are new houses going up, and with that, the entertainment value of the Titans and the Predators, and we have a Major League Soccer team now, and Tennessee State, we want to be a fun night out for families in Nashville. We're the only public school out of all those schools you named, Belmont, Lipscomb, even Trevecca, Fisk, Vanderbilt, all those Lipscomb, all those schools are private. So Tennessee State is the only public school. So we kind of look at ourselves as that neighborhood city team for the entire city of Nashville. So we want to turn Tennessee State basketball into a great ticket, a great family event, and come out and see a high-quality game of basketball.
We absolutely do. And then in the last couple of minutes with Penny Collins, the head basketball coach at Tennessee State. I know, of course, you played at Whites Creek locally, then played for the great Rick Byrd at Belmont, had some great programs there. What's your ultimate vision for Tennessee State basketball and for this year's group? What are you anticipating? How much better are you anticipating this team getting as the year goes on?
Yeah, well, ultimately the vision for this program is to be one of the most well-respected programs in the country. Like you said, Whites Creek to Belmont. When I first got to Belmont, that's when they had just turned Division I, and they were still trying to find our identity. And by the time I graduated, we went to our first ever NCAA tournament. And now look at what Belmont's doing now. Like, they're one of the most respected teams in the country. You play Belmont, you better put on your hard hat. Well, that's what we're expecting for Tennessee State. We want Tennessee State to be one of the most respected teams in the country. We want to be a team that can compete for OVC championships and win and go to the NCAA tournament and be a real recognized program throughout all of college basketball. And as far as this year's concerned, I really do feel, even though we're off to this slow start, I feel this team could put a huge dent into setting the foundation of continuing the foundation of what this program can be. We just got to continue to gel, and as you continue to see these older guys that we have gel, you're gonna these 2-point losses and 6-point loss in Nebraska, and these games that we've been losing by such a small margin will turn to our favor. And once they do, hopefully we can get into a rhythm and be playing our best basketball come conference play.
Well, Brian Penny Collins, we appreciate the time. We look forward to Canute Wood joining your program, and they will be back at it, as he said. Bus trip to Chicago State, 4 o'clock on Saturday. Hopefully they're going to get that, get a winning streak going and get a win on the road and get this thing rolling for Tennessee State. We really appreciate the time, Coach, and good luck the rest of this season, and I'm sure we'll be talking again down the road. Thank you.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you so much. Good stuff there. Good basketball talk. Little Tennessee State basketball talk here. Let's get our final break in when we come back. Your tomorrow's headlines today as we wrap up our Thursday show.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
I'm Chris Haygood at Bob Wallace Appliance.
Hey, Dad, if someone gets an appliance for Christmas, how will Santa get it down the chimney?
Magic.
Madeline, part of the magic of the season is our chance to get together again. More often than not, those gatherings will be in the kitchen. Look for holiday savings on the best brands you already know and trust, like Whirlpool, KitchenAid, and Maytag.
Santa's going to need some help delivering those.
That's what we're here for.
Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman.
Bob Wallace Appliance.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com. SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
Tom Abraham here for my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
Sometimes the best things in life are right in front of you. When's the last time you took time to enjoy everything Montesano State Park has to offer? So close to home, just 5 miles from downtown Huntsville, Montesano State Park sits on over 2,000 acres with spectacular vistas from atop Montesano Mountain. And right now is a great time to visit and enjoy all the fall colors. In just a few months, spring will arrive with native azaleas in bloom along the 20 miles of hiking trails and 14 miles of biking trails. And no matter when you visit, you can enjoy time in one of 11 stone cabins with working fireplaces, built in 1930 by the Civilian Conservation Corps. These historic cabins all sit on a bluff line that offers beautiful views from their screened-in porches. Prefer a more primitive camping experience? Montesano State Park offers improved and primitive camping year-round. If you're ready to take some time to slow down and get away, log on alapark.com and make your reservation now. That's alapark.com.
They canceled Himsey and rescue on the scene where a vehicle hit a house. That was in the 4000 block of Piedmont, south of Drake. Eastbound on 565 near mile marker 6, trying to clear an accident. Had one at Bird Spring and Maxwell also that should be about ready to clear. 2030 Fast Track can make your clothes fall off. Allison lost 100 pounds in 7 months on the plan. A free hormone quiz will tell you if the program can work for you. 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
So, Drew, other than the Major League lockout, the other big story was that the College Football Playoff Committee, the Playoff Management Committee, met yesterday again. We are no closer to finding out when we will have college football playoff expansion. Greg Sankey saying yesterday that he does not support automatic qualifiers for Power 5 champions, even if every once in a while there might be a conference champ game upset that knocks a league out of the college football playoffs. He says he still thinks earning your way in is the right approach. He did say he went there to the meetings yesterday to make a decision. He was ready to vote, but understands that more work is needed.
No doubt about it. More work. They're going to have to continue to talk this out. And in a lot of ways, Commissioner Sankey's right. You want to make these teams earn it. Don't penalize them if they're in a tougher league, and give layups to others to get them in the playoff. They're going to get smoked anyway. So I completely agree with Commissioner Sankey. And it's sad with the baseball situation, with the lockout, because it always seems like Major League Baseball, when they get a lot of momentum going and they seem to get all the fans on the same page, and they seem to be making having a renaissance as far as the national pastime, then there's like an anvil being dropped. And in many cases, this is what this is. Hopefully, Jeff from the Borough is going to be wrong, and this is not going to be a long work stoppage, and they'll be back and the season will start on time.
Yeah, here's what a lockout means for those that are kind of like wondering, okay, what does this mean?
Yeah.
It means that there is a freeze on trades and signings of major league players, no communication between teams and players on their major league rosters, no winter meetings. It does not mean that games are canceled. That pressure won't mount until about mid to late January. So there is time to get this done before games are threatened, before games are canceled. It just means that there can be no talk between the teams and the players. That means right now, Freddie Freeman cannot be re-signed by the Atlanta Braves or any other team until the lockout ends.
That's right. So there will be some limbo there. There's no doubt about it. But as far as the headlines for tomorrow as well, we already talked about it earlier in the show, Scott. We had the 7A game last night at 7 p.m. to kick off the Super 7 at Progressive Field over in Birmingham. Outstanding facility. It looked great last night on television. I was watching some of that on the NFHS as Thompson wins 38-22. Starting today at 11, your 3A state championship game, Montgomery Academy and Piedmont will be played at 11 a.m. at 3 p.m. You will be able to see Sweetwater, and they will take on Wadley. And then in the 5A game, a lot of people, looking forward to this one. Is Pike Road, the Patriots. They're going to take on Pleasant Grove, the Spartans. And then on Friday, your 4A game will be at 11 a.m., and that will, of course, be, the Redskins of Aniana, pardon me. They are going to be reaching that 4A game as they'll take on the Viger Wolves. And your 2A game will be at 3 o'clock, and then it'll wrap up with 6A at 7. So a lot of football to be played over in Birmingham for the Super 7 state championship.
All right, that's going to do it for the 2 hours. Just like that, lickety-split. Tonight, you get UAH basketball on 97.7 ESPN, the Zone 2, starting with the women's game. Of course, hey, Coach, tonight as well. Drew, you got a double dip today.
Well, it'll be the Czar and West Neighbors out at Baumhauer's tonight for that SEC Championship preview special. I'll be celebrating a late birthday for my father. We're going to go out to dinner. But, yeah, tune into the Czar tonight and West Neighbors out at Baumhauer's.
At Bryant Bank, we believe your goals are worth chasing, and every step along the way is worth celebrating. From your hopes for the future to the challenges that keep you up at night, we're here for you. Bryant Bankers put care